Hello and welcome to Improvement Roulette. We're coming to you tonight instead of in the morning, so a little bit different than normal, but that's okay. As long as we're making sure that we are able to spend some time making your work better today. So if you are joining us later on, or if you're able to watch live, that's awesome. I need to get better at telling people I'm going to go live rather than just hitting the button. So I'm Amanda Zimmerman. I am a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and I've been helping businesses for the last 10 years make their processes better. So tonight what I'm bringing you is all about organizing our virtual workspaces. So if you watched yesterday's episode, we talked about organizing your physical workspaces. Today we take those same tools, but we apply them to our virtual environments. I'm going to start this by using a form. So we're going to look at applying these tools to a form that you might have online for an online shop. But you could also look at your desktop, your folder structure, your coding. All of these things could be something that you did this type of audit on. You could just do a screen print and do this type of audit on. So you can see over here, we have this example of a form. So we have someone that has an online shop. And in their online shop, they sell some templates and some software. And I think we use the example in the comments. So we have Joana. And Joana has an online shop where she sells templates and software. And so she has people that call in and have questions about that, and then she's able to help them. Now, she's hired a small team, and that team has started to answer those questions for her. However, she overheard them complaining about the form, saying, are these the right questions to ask? I don't know why we're asking this question, or this person got upset when I asked them. And so she's now thinking about, how can I make this form better? Now, to me, one of the hardest things that we have to learn is how to be more objective about these decisions. So these are some exercises that you can take to make more objective decisions. So just like we looked at yesterday, does it belong? So the first thing that she can go through is she can go through the form and ask, does it belong to this work center? So if it's the help desk, is this something that makes sense for the help desk? And maybe it's the tier 1 help desk. Right? These are things that really make sense for them to know. Now, the tier 2 might be within that same department. So they might be within that IT department, but they're at a different workstation, right? So that's that green that we have on there. So it belongs to the department, but maybe not to that work center. The third question that we can ask is, does it belong to the business at all, right? Is it something that's relevant to the business? Now, here, we've taken some liberties with this form to say the customer was satisfied with the resolution. So we said that that did belong with the business. The thing that we said did not belong, that we coded in red there, was the middle name. That was something that maybe we don't actually need to know. Now, this is the first question that you'll want to ask. You can even do this on your desktop and look at your desktop and think about how many things actually belong there. Do you have a lot of old stuff that you could get rid of? Do you have things that don't belong to you, or that somebody else had sent you that you had saved on your desktop to print for someone? Those are things that you could identify. The next thing that we can take a look at is, how frequently is it used? So these are questions that we can use to understand if we're actually using the data that we're collecting. Now, what is the value of collecting data that we don't use? People do this all the time. We've got to stop doing that. If you have data you're collecting that you never use, let's stop. That takes up space on your servers. That takes up space on your workstations. It makes it more confusing when you're trying to evaluate your data. So, excuse me. You can ask, how frequently is it used, or is it required? Right? And we can see here there's a couple fields that we actually have never used. We have them in our database, and we've never used those fields to make any decisions off of, which means we should get rid of them. Now, I'm going to give you a bonus tonight, which isn't really in line with what we're talking about, but it's an additional question that you can take on if you are looking at a form.
So if you're looking at a form, you can ask, does it belong? What frequency is it used? These are two things that make it really easy. You can apply that, like I said, to your desktop. You can apply that to your coding and do those types of evaluations. Now, if you are looking at a form, the one thing that drives me crazy, pet peeve of mine every single time, is when we design forms with the person receiving the data in mind. So quite often the order of the form isn't how it would naturally flow in a conversation. The order of the form is just whoever built it, that's kind of how they threw it in there. Well, that's terrible for the person that's on the phone, right? So what we want to do is look at, if you were on the phone, if it was ideal, if the people that were actually creating the form were there, how would they want you to line it out? What would they want to be first? What would they want to be second, right? And so start designing this so that it flows that way. The next thing to ask is who receives the data, what order do they want it in? Because generally when you have some kind of form, you're going to have the format that's there for the person to fill it out. And then on the back end, you're going to have some kind of database or table. Now that table can be formatted in a different order than the form. That's perfectly fine, but why not set it up that way? Why not make it really easy for you to see the data that you need in the order that you need it, right? So when we look at these forms, we can actually take it to that next level. This will transform your productivity. This will make it faster for people to input your data. Let's say this was an order form instead of a form for a service ticket. This would make it so much faster for the person ordering your items to be able to actually order them. The fewer clicks, the fewer times they have to fill something out, the more likely they are to complete that sale. So make it as easy as possible for them to do that. Easy. We want to make it really easy to do it right. So that's some information for you today to think about the different forms and requests that you might have out there, as well as your desktop and your virtual environments. I want you to go out today and look at one of your procedures or activities that you do and apply this. See if you can apply this today and think about that a little bit differently. Can you identify something that you've been asking for that you don't need? Let's get rid of it. Let's stop collecting that data because we pay people to do it. Let's stop paying people to do things that we never actually use. So tomorrow we're going to talk about one of the most important tools that you can possibly know in Lean. If you are a Lean Six Sigma practitioner, you have to know this. This is downtime, or Tim Woods. So we're going to cover that in tomorrow's session. And we're going to give examples of Tim Woods that are all related to someone that might have a carpentry business. So in Improvement Roulette, every single night we look at a business improvement tool, we look at a business, and we are able to identify some examples of that business improvement tool for that business. So it's a really fun way for us to be able to use these tools, practice with these tools. And I'd love to hear any feedback from you on tools that you would like to see or businesses that you would like us to include. Also, every night I fill out my little card here, and I have to be honest, tonight I almost had a red. I almost didn't make it in tonight, and almost had a red on this card, but I decided to go forward even though it was the evening, and I usually do this in the morning. So I got my little green mark, and you can see I'm approaching some red up there, so got to make it through. So I have that final line there of green, showing that we kept up this streak, kept giving you value, kept giving you information that can make your businesses better. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I hope that you use this tool to make your business a little bit better each and every day so that you don't have to work so hard.